I love to cook, and I like to think that I'm pretty good at it, but grocery shopping, meal prep, and cleanup doesn't always fit into my schedule. So if you're like me and want to try a meal delivery service, you probably want it to taste like something you'd cook for yourself. Fresh, flavorful, and actually healthy. That's been my goal too. So between work, travel, and trying to eat clean without spending hours in the kitchen, I've been testing out different options to see which one I like best. And in this video, I'm sharing my experience trying Factor. I've been getting their meals on a weekly basis for the past couple months now. So I'll touch on everything from how they taste, how fresh they really are, what they cost, and whether the portions actually leave you satisfied. Plus, we'll dive into each of their meal options, what sorts of diet plans and flavors they offer, which meals I think are the best, and which ones you might want to skip. So if you're curious about trying Factor, stick around to see whether it could be the mealtime solution you've been looking for. That being said, let's get started. Quick heads up, I've put affiliate links in the description for everything we've covered. If you use them, I earn a commission at no extra cost to you, which helps support the channel. Alright, so if you're not familiar with Factor or Factor 75, as it's sometimes known, it's a ready-to-eat meal delivery service that focuses on clean ingredients. Every meal comes ready to heat and eat, which really appealed to me because I was looking for something quick but still healthy. And what I had initially caught my eye was how clean the meals looked. No processed junk, just real ingredients with a focus on nutrition. They feature options like keto, calorie smart, high protein, and even vegan. So it feels like there was something for every kind of diet. And personally, I was tired of spending time preparing meals or trying to fill in the gaps with fast food, takeout, or delivery services that just didn't measure up in terms of quality. I wanted something that wouldn't feel like a compromise between convenience and health. So I was really interested in giving Factor a try and seeing whether it could deliver on both. Now, getting started with Factor is honestly one of the easiest experiences I've had with a meal delivery service. You just go to their site, enter your details, and choose how many meals you want delivered per week. From there, you can browse through the weekly menu and pick exactly what you want. The meals get delivered right to your door in an insulated box with ice packs. Each meal comes vacuum sealed and goes straight into the fridge, labeled with the name, ingredients, and macros. And when you're ready to eat, you just heat it up. Then in under 2 minutes, you're good to go. Now, you can also manage everything from your account dashboard. So it's easy to skip a week, pause your plan, or change your meal selection up to about a week in advance. They'll send you reminders too, which helps you avoid getting stuck with meals you don't want. So if you're someone who doesn't want to think too much about food during the week, but still wants to enjoy a variety of healthier choices, Factor's setup makes it really easy. Everything I ordered arrived fresh, on time, and exactly as I expected. Okay, before we dig deeper into the meals themselves, let's take a moment and look at pricing, because let's be honest, cost plays a big role in whether or not a service like this is going to make sense for you long term. So to give a bit of the breakdown on your weekly cost, if you're doing 6 Factor meals a week, you're gonna be looking at around $14 per meal, which in my experience feels more like a part-time solution. It's great for a few busy days, but you'll still need to cook or order out for the rest. But if you wanted to bump things up to 10 meals a week, the price would drop to around $12.50 per meal. And if you go for 18 meals a week, that's where you'll get the best value at roughly $11.50 per meal. The more meals you order, the better the per meal price. So if you're trying to replace most of your lunches and dinners, going bigger actually helps to bring down your overall cost. Now, if I'm being completely honest, I do think that Factor is definitely on the pricier side, especially compared with traditional meal kits or just cooking at home. But you can see a lot of that cost comes from their focus on quality. You're getting fully prepared meals made with fresh, never frozen ingredients, no preservatives, and recipes tailored to specific diets like keto, high protein, or calorie smart. So for me, paying a little more was worth it for the convenience and peace of mind that I'm getting health conscious, healthy quality meals every time. So if you want to see how Factor could fit into your routine, then you can check them out and get started by using the affiliate link in the description below, where we often have special deals that you wouldn't be able to get if you went directly through their main website. Alright, so let's get into what we all really care about, the taste. Overall, the past couple of months, I've tried a good mix from each of Factor's categories, so I think I've managed to pinpoint what the service does well and where things could be a little better. Let's start with the Chef's Choice meals. These are going to be the default picks if you don't customize your box, which makes sense because they're a pretty safe bet. I had the garlic and herb chicken breast and the creamy Parmesan chicken, and both were pretty solid. The garlic chicken has a good sear and stay juicy, which I honestly wasn't expecting from something that just gets popped into the microwave. Then the Parmesan sauce was creamy and rich, though I do wish it had a bit more seasoning. Nothing wild here, but still consistently tasty. Now for the keto meals, I'm not following a keto diet, but I was curious to see how satisfying these would be without incorporating carbs, and it turns out they were pretty decent. The beef bolognese and roasted portobello was hearty and flavorful, and the keto sausage was actually pretty filling without feeling greasy. The smoky bacon and cheddar egg bites were also great for a quick high-protein breakfast. That said, if you order a few of these back to back, the cheese-heavy profiles can start to feel a little repetitive, but if you're after lighter meals, the calorie-smart options are pretty solid too. Most hover at around 550 calories or less, but they don't taste like your typical bland diet food, if you know what I mean. The honey maple barbecue ground beef, for instance, had a sweet savory thing going on that really made me want to try it again, and the green chili chicken had just enough spice to keep it interesting. I did find the roasted garlic chicken to be a bit too simple for my taste, but overall, it's a pretty solid menu if you're trying to cut calories without having to spend too much time preparing every meal and worrying about nutrition. The Protein Plus menu quickly became one of my favorite categories. If you're trying to hit higher protein goals without snacking all day, then these are worth checking out. The creamy pesto pork chop was honestly one of the best factory meals I've tried. Tender, flavorful, and not too oily. And the cheesy pimento was heavier but satisfying, while the Mexican-style beef packed some heat, which I hadn't expected but I really enjoyed. As for the vegan and veggie options, I'll be honest, I went in with low expectations, but was actually kind of impressed. The vegan mushroom marsala was pretty filling. The mushrooms had good texture and soaked up the sauce nicely. Then the peanut Buddha bowl had a great mix of sweet and savory flavors, plus the veggies still tasted fresh. The only miss here for me though was the sun-dried tomato and spinach dish. It wasn't bad, but the pasta came out a little too soft for my liking. Though all in all, I've been pretty happy with how the meals tasted. The quality is consistent, the proteins aren't dry, and it never felt like I was eating typical cheap frozen food. Some meals definitely stood out from the others, but that's expected with a rotating menu. And personally, I enjoyed the chef's choice and the Protein Plus meals the most. While the keto and calorie smart categories are great if you're aiming for something more specific. And if you're interested in plant-based, the variety was actually better than I was expecting. But honestly, is Factor really worth it? Well, when it comes to the quality of the food, I'd say absolutely holds up. These meals don't taste like your average freezer dinner. The ingredients taste noticeably fresher. They use organic produce when they can, on top of responsibly sourcing meats. And you can really tell the difference. The vegetables stay crisp, the proteins aren't rubbery, and the sauces taste clean without the overly processed flavor. So for something you're just heating up in a couple of minutes, it's honestly pretty impressive. As for the protein sizes, going in, I wasn't sure if the meals were going to be filling enough, but most of them actually are. They're not massive, but I rarely felt like I needed to eat something else afterwards. The higher protein meals especially feel well balanced, not too heavy, but still satisfying. Now, if you got a bigger appetite or you're bulking up, you might find a few of their dishes on the lighter side. But overall, it struck a good balance for me. One more detail I appreciated was how clean and organized the packaging is. Every meal comes in a labeled tray with full nutrition info and heating instructions, which makes things super easy to keep track of. They stack easily in the fridge, and even with a full box, I didn't feel like I was losing space. Most of the packaging is recyclable too, which is great if you're trying to minimize waste. So all things considered, would I recommend Factor? Honestly, yeah, especially if you're someone who wants to eat healthier without dealing with the hassle of meal planning, grocery shopping, or spending hours in the kitchen. It takes a lot of the stress out of eating well and has really simplified my routine. Now, it's definitely not the cheapest option out there, but for what you're getting, fresh, high-quality ingredients, fully prepared meals, and level of convenience that actually fits into a busy schedule, it's a great value and I definitely recommend checking it out. And that's all for today's review. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, then please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos just like this. If you'd like to try Factor and see how it works for you, then you can check it out by heading to the affiliate link in the description below, where you can access special deals that you wouldn't find if you went directly on their main website. Also, if you're interested in working with us or sponsoring a future video, just reach out using the email in the description below. Now, as always, I enjoy hearing your thoughts, so go ahead and leave any questions or comments down below, and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. Finally guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care.